Hello and welcome back to Giant Appetite Cooking. In this video I will be making homemade biscuits with a sausage gravy. And by the end you'll be able to make these at home yourself. We'll start things off with preparing the biscuits. You can see everything that you're going to need right here. I hope you enjoy the video. Let's get started. We will start with the dry ingredients. First off is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Next up is 4 teaspoons of baking powder, followed by 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda. Next up is 2 teaspoons of sugar, and finally 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now you're going to give all the dry ingredients a quick stir just to combine them all together. To the dry ingredients I added 1/3 of a cup of unsalted cold butter. You want to make sure that your butter is as cold as possible, so I cut mine into cubes and put it into the freezer until it was ready to be used. Now take a pastry cutter, a fork, or whatever you have available to cut the butter into your dry mixture. If you have nothing else, you can use your hands, but do this as quick as possible to avoid heating up the butter. Once you're done, your mixture should look like this, with everything blended well together, with small crumbles visible in the mixture. And finally, we're going to add 1 cup of buttermilk. You can make this yourself by taking 1 cup of regular milk and adding 1 tablespoon of either lemon juice or vinegar to it. Once that's all in, take a spoon or spatula and combine everything together. Your dough is going to be very wet and sticky, but that's okay, that's how it's supposed to look. All that's left to do now is to form our biscuits and get them ready to go into the oven. So take some flour and cover your countertop and pour your dough out onto that surface. As I said before, the dough is very wet and sticky, so you're going to have to use some extra flour to make it manageable to work with and make sure it doesn't stick to everything. But at the same time, you want to use as little flour as possible so that you don't completely dry the dough out. But now we're going to knead the dough for just about a minute and spread it out and form it so we can finally cut our biscuits. As you can see, you're just going to fold it over a few times, adding flour whenever it's needed. At the same time, I'm trying to touch the dough as little as possible. I'm still trying to keep the butter as cold as possible until the biscuits get into the oven. So that's why you see me just using my fingertips most of the time and patting it very lightly just to minimize the amount of contact that I'm having with the dough. And finally here, I'm spreading the dough out to the desired shape and thickness that I'm looking for. Once this is done, I'll be able to cut the biscuits and get them into the oven. Today I decided to form a rectangle and cut out 6 somewhat large rectangular biscuits. If you have a sharp cookie cutter, you can cut out circles or whatever shape you prefer. But what I chose to do here is probably the easiest method and what anybody would be able to do. So these are just about ready to go. I'm just putting on the finishing touches. But no matter what shape you end up going with, you want your dough to end up to be about 1 inch thick. And now we're ready to cut our biscuits out. No matter what you're using, you want to make sure that you have a very sharp edge. I just use a knife here myself. You just want to make sure you're not crushing the dough down too much when you're forming your biscuits. And that's it, nice and easy, no scrap left over. They're ready to go into the oven. And now I just move these onto a baking sheet with some parchment paper on it. No grease is needed. These have enough butter in them that they won't stick to anything. You don't need to put too much space in between each one. They're not going to spread out too much. I left about a 1-inch gap in between all of them. You can try to shake off the excess flour a little bit more than I did, but these still came out just fine. And these will go into a 450-degree oven for just about 12 minutes until you start to see them turn golden brown. And here they are. This is the exact color that you want to go for. And to finish them off, I took about a tablespoon or two of melted butter and just brushed over the top of these. And this is what your finished product should look like. Hot, buttery, golden brown biscuits. While these are in the oven is the perfect time to work on your sausage gravy. And I'll show you how to make that right now. This is all you're going to need right here, and it should take about 10, maybe 15 minutes at the most. I start off by heating up a pot to medium heat and adding about 2 tablespoons of butter. Once that's melted, I added 1 pound of sausage. This could be breakfast sausage or Italian sausage, spicy, whatever you prefer. You're gonna go ahead and break this up into little pieces and cook it until it's completely browned. And at this time, I add a couple pinches of salt and pepper just to season it up a little bit. And I continue to break it up even more as it's cooking. You don't want to end up with huge chunks of sausage. So here it is, just about done. You want to make sure that it's all completely cooked through and nice and brown. Next, we're going to add 1/3 of a cup of all-purpose flour. And stir that up so the sausage gets covered and the flour starts to cook slightly. As you can see here, it will start to turn a golden color. This is when it's ready. You don't want to cook this anymore to the point where it starts to burn. And finally, the last ingredient to go in is 3 cups of milk. During this time, you can also add some more salt and pepper to your preferred taste. Finally, you're going to cook this over medium heat, adjusting the temperature when needed just to make sure this doesn't come to a heavy boil. And cook the gravy until it gets to its desired thickness. So right here it's all done. This is exactly what you should be looking for. This is ready to go on top of the biscuits as soon as they come out of the oven. I have 1 biscuit split open here, and I'm going to go ahead and put 1 scoop of gravy on top of each side. You want to make sure that everything is nice and hot once you're ready to serve. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to have some breakfast. Here's a nice close-up. The biscuits are at just the right color and the gravy is at the perfect consistency. I was so happy with how these came out. Let me go ahead and cut off my first bite. And now it's finally time to eat. And that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you gave this a try, leave a like, and subscribe for more videos.